All right, everyone. So today we're diving into something I think we've all experienced at one point or another,
Yeah,
trying to figure out what those confusing mixed signals actually mean.
absolutely.
And we've got this Reddit post
Yeah,
with a whole thread of comments to help us further figure this out.
a classic.
It's all about this guy trying to figure out if his lifelong friend is into him or not.
So it's one of those situations where, like,
Yeah,
you think you can read the signs,
totally.
but then you realize maybe you're not reading them right.
Okay, so let's set the scene.
Yeah.
This guy, the OP,
Okay.
he's known this woman practically his whole life, and he's liked her romantically for, like, forever.
Oh, wow.
And so they go out with friends,
Okay.
and things get pretty steamy,
Oh,
like they're making out.
wow.
She initiated it,
Okay.
and they're having some pretty suggestive conversations.
So you would think, because things are going well.
Exactly. But then the next day, she basically says they were both too drunk,
Oh, no.
and that she doesn't want to risk their friendship.
Oh, that's got to sting.
And, like, that's where it gets so confusing, because alcohol can really blur the lines.
Totally. It's a classic social lubricant.
Right.
So it can make people act in ways they wouldn't normally.
And how do you know what's real then?
Right.
Especially when you're already, like, emotionally invested.
Yeah, that's the tricky part.
Like, is this just alcohol talking, or is
Mm.
she actually into him?
Well, the interesting thing about alcohol is it doesn't create feelings out of nowhere.
Hmm.
It lowers our inhibitions. So
Yeah.
feelings and desires we might be suppressing,
Oh,
they can surface when we're drinking.
So you're saying it's like taking off the brakes.
Yeah, exactly.
You're still in control, but things can go a lot faster.
And potentially expected, of course.
Wow, that's a great analogy.
So it's really important to consider the context. Like,
Yeah.
was this a one-time thing or is there something deeper there?
That she's maybe not admitting to.
Right.
Well, luckily, we've got a whole thread of Reddit comments
Oh, perfect.
to help us figure it all out.
Let's see what people are saying.
But the advice is all over the place.
Oh, that's typical.
Some people are saying he should just cut her off completely,
Wow.
while others think he should just be direct.
Okay, yeah, I can see both sides.
But there's one piece of advice that really stood out to me.
Okay, what is it?
Someone suggested he should act uninterested to see if she gets jealous.
Oh, that's a classic game-playing tactic.
Right.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Yeah, it seems kind of manipulative.
It is manipulative.
Like, why play games?
Exactly, you're not addressing the real issue.
So how should he handle this?
I think he needs to have an honest conversation with her.
Okay, but that could be super scary.
I know, it can be daunting.
Especially when you're already feeling vulnerable.
But being open about your feelings,
Okay.
it's so important for building healthy relationships.
So what does that look like?
He doesn't have to be like, hey, remember that makeout session?
Right.
But he should acknowledge what happened.
Yeah.
He could say something like, I really enjoyed the other night,
Okay.
but I'm a bit confused about what it means for us. Can we talk about?
Yeah, that sounds a lot better.
Right.
But what if she gets defensive?
That's a possibility.
Okay.
And he needs to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
If she's not ready to talk,
Yeah.
he has to respect that.
So even if it doesn't go the way he hopes,
Exactly.
at least he'll know where he stands.
And that's valuable in itself.
I guess so.
This whole situation just shows
Yeah.
how tricky communication can be.
Especially when it comes to romance.
Absolutely.
Okay, so before we dive into more of the comments,
Yeah.
I want to remind everyone that we've got tons of deep dives waiting for you
Oh, yeah.
over on the Voices of the Soul podcast.
And if you're more of a visual leaner,
Yeah,
check out the Shauna Polage YouTube channel.
we're passionate about helping you navigate all this stuff.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get back to these Reddit
Right,
comments.
I'm ready for more drama.
Me too.
Some of these comments are pretty harsh.
I know, right?
Like calling her manipulative
Yeah.
or saying she's leading him on.
It's like, come on, people.
I get that they're trying to be supportive.
Right.
But maybe she's just confused too.
Yeah, exactly.
Attraction isn't always black and white.
Especially when you throw alcohol into the mix.
And years of friendship?
Right, like it's not that simple.
And then there's this comment saying
Oh.
he should have made a move at her place.
Like he missed his chance.
That's so focused on the physical.
I know.
Like it's just
Well,
about hooking up.
Right.
But it's more than that.
It's about their history.
Their connection.
Exactly.
Like some of this advice is all about playing games.
Oh, yeah, like that one.
About bringing a hot date next time.
So ridiculous.
Like relationships are some kind of competition.
Ugh, I hate that.
It's not about winning or losing.
Right.
It's about connecting with someone.
On a real level.
Exactly.
Okay, so what about the advice to just give her space
That's not necessarily bad advice. Sometimes you need to step back.
to process?
Yeah. And maybe things will cool down a bit.
So it's not about giving up.
No.
It's about giving it time.
Exactly.
And I guess this is where attachment styles come in.
Oh, absolutely.
Like if he's anxious,
He might want to rush things.
yeah, or need constant
She
reassurance.
might have a different style.
So understanding that is important.
It can help manage expectations.
And anxieties.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so easy to project our own needs on the others.
Without even realizing it.
Like we assume everyone thinks the same way.
Right, and that's why self-awareness is key.
So you can communicate better.
And build healthier relationships.
It sounds like there's no easy answer here.
Not really.
But what are some key takeaways?
Well, first, context is crucial.
Okay.
Think about alcohol.
Or other factors.
That could be affecting things.
Right.
Second, ditch the games.
Okay.
Be authentic.
Be vulnerable.
Even though it can be scary.
It's worth it.
And finally, communicate.
That's always the answer.
It is.
Even if it's hard.
Talk about your feelings.
And expectations.
Clarity and understanding.
If this is some good takeaways.
I hope so.
This whole conversation reminds me of the love languages.
Oh, yeah.
Like, maybe they're just expressing love differently.
That's a great point.
And that's causing misunderstandings? It's
Absolutely.
like a secret decoder ring?
I love that.
Okay, but before we go down that rabbit hole,
Right.
there was one comment that really stood out.
Oh, which one?
The one about respecting her boundaries.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
Like, amidst all the drama.
And
It
gameplay.
was so mature.
It really highlighted
Yeah.
the importance of respecting someone's space.
So even if he's hurting,
He needs to recognize
yeah,
that she has the right to her own feeling.
even if they're not what he wants,
Exactly.
that's tough, but so important.
It's a sign of maturity.
Okay, so this is great advice for the OP.
Yeah.
But what about everyone else?
Who's going through something similar?
Right, like what would you tell them?
First, you're not alone.
This is just hard,
Relationships are complex.
especially with mixed signals.
It's okay to feel confused and hurt.
Yeah,
Process those emotions.
but don't let them control you,
Remember your worth.
and prioritize your own well-being.
That's so important.
It's easy to get caught up in the drama,
And forget about yourself.
but self-compassion is key.
Absolutely.
And don't be afraid to ask for help.
From friends, family, or a therapist,
Sometimes an outside perspective can help.
he can give you clarity.
Okay, before we wrap up this part, I
Yeah.
want to talk about one more comment.
Okay.
The one about how starting as friends
Yeah.
can make things more complicated.
That's a really interesting point.
Like a whole friend zone thing.
It's a term with a lot of baggage,
I know, right?
but it speaks to a real fear
Of rooting a friendship.
by admitting your feelings.
Yeah, I've totally been there.
It's so common.
And it's tied to attachment styles.
And fear of rejection
Like risking a secure friendship
for something unknown.
can be terrifying. So what should you do if you're in that situation?
Well, first reflect on your feelings.
Okay.
Are they fleeting, or is there something more?
So soul searching before anything else.
Exactly.
And then what?
Think about the friendship.
Like, are there signs they might feel the same?
Has there been any flirting?
Ooh, I love a good flirtation analysis.
And trust your intuition. If you
Wow.
feel a connection and you're comfortable taking the risk,
Then what?
have a conversation.
Okay, but how do you even start?
You're shifting the dynamic.
Right.
So be honest, but acknowledge that.
Okay.
You could say, I've been feeling a shift, and I've realized I have feelings for you
Okay.
that go beyond friendship.
Wow, that's direct.
But it's important to be clear.
But what if they don't feel the same way?
That's possible. Rejection is hard, but it
Uh-huh.
doesn't diminish your worth.
That's a good reminder.
If they don't reciprocate,
Yeah.
try to be understanding.
So communication is key here.
It always is.
Being able to express yourself,
And respect their response.
even if it's not what you wanted.
Exactly.
And maybe the friendship can survive.
It might take time.
And space.
But if there's mutual respect,
It's possible.
that's reassuring.
Because losing a friend is scary.
It is.
But this brings us to a bigger point.
About relationships.
Yeah.
Communication is key.
Whether it's romantic or platonic.
It's about honesty,
And
building lasting bonds.
that's a great point to end on.
I think so.
But we've got one more part
Oh,
to
what?
really dive deep into this.
I can't wait.
So stay tuned. All right, so we're back. And I'm still thinking about that whole friend zone thing.
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
Like, how do you even know if you're in it?
Right? Like, is it a real thing or just a concept?
And if you are in it,
Can you ever get out?
I feel like it speaks to a bigger fear.
Oh, totally.
The fear of ruining a good friendship.
By admitting your feelings.
Exactly.
And that fear can be paralyzing.
Especially if you've been hurt before.
Yeah, if you're worried about rejection.
It's easier to just stay quiet
But then you're stuck.
in this like limbo of unspoken feeling.
Which can be really frustrating.
So what do you do?
Well, first you got to figure out your own feelings.
Okay.
Like, are these just fleeting thoughts, or
Mhm.
is there something deeper there?
A real connection.
Right, because if it's just a crush,
Yeah.
maybe it's best to let it fade.
But if it's more to it,
Then you have to decide if it's worth the risk.
the risk of ruining the friendship.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's say you decide to go for it.
Yeah.
How do you even bring it up?
It's all about communication.
But like, how do you do it without being awkward?
Well, you could say something like, hey, I've been feeling a shift in our relationship,
Okay.
and I've realized I have feelings for you that are more than just friendship.
Wow. That's pretty straightforward.
It's important to be clear,
Yeah.
right? But also acknowledge that it could change things.
Like, it might not be the same anymore.
Right.
And what if they don't feel the same way?
That's a possibility.
And that's got to be tough.
Rejection is never easy.
But it's important to remember that it doesn't define you.
Yeah, your worth isn't tied to their feelings.
Okay, but what about the friendship?
Sometimes it can survive.
Really?
It might take time and space.
Yeah, to adjust.
But if the foundation is strong,
Mm,
you can rebuild.
that's good to know.
Because the fear of losing a friend
Yeah.
can be really intense.
But this whole conversation just highlights,
The importance of communication,
right?
whether it's romantic or platonic,
Being honest,
and respectful.
even when it's hard.
That's how you build strong relationships.
And that's a great message to end on.
I think so.
So to everyone out there navigating mixed signals,
And the complexities of relationships.
remember you're not alone.
Communication is key.
Trust your intuition.
And prioritize your own well-being.
And if you're looking for more guidance,
Yeah.
check out the Voices of the Soul podcast.
And the Shauna Polage YouTube channel?
We're here to help you navigate all this stuff.
Absolutely.
That's all for this deep dive, folks.
Thanks for joining us.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep connecting, and keep those voices of the soul resonating within you.